To describe what the show is, it's basically Tyler makes these really short, dark, major left turn short films that all have like a theme, like jealousy, envy, empathy, or something, whatever.
It's a collection of short stories, and these are all twisted, kind of messed up. Like if there was like a dark comedic Black Mirror, it would be like, I think, kind of like this show. And it's called Bad Thoughts because basically.
So a few days ago, we made a video going over Tom Segura's new show on Netflix, Bad Thoughts, and a lot of people disagreed with some of the comments that I made, which is understandable and expected. Again, I did mention the show did look very good. It was basically movie quality, and it did have some funny moments. Also, at least Tom didn't change his comedy style to appeal to a broader audience like Andrew Schultz did. However, because it is Tom Segura, my expectations were really high. You know, he had the Netflix budget, access to all the resources in the world, some funny comics and funny writers, and so my expectations were really high. However, on that video, someone made a comment that really caught my attention because I had completely forgotten about this show, even though I never watched it back when it came out, but I do remember seeing a lot of clips of the show. And if I can find this comment here, I had it highlighted. So this comment here, Segura ripped off Burr. Burr made pretty much the same show on Roku. And when I went back to look at the show, man, I was shocked to see that the show was very similar to Bad Thoughts, or I should say the other way around. Bad Thoughts looked exactly like Immoral Compass. Now, to be fair, obviously not on the same level. I'm talking more about the format of the show and other things that we're about to get into. For example, the name. So, Immoral Compass and Bad Thoughts. I mean, you can't deny that they sound very similar, or at the very least kind of hint towards the same subject. But then when things get crazy, now, by the way, I'm not claiming or saying that Tom Segura, or agree that Tom Segura stole any ideas for the show, for the whole show, or even for some bits or sketches. Of course not. And even if he did watch Bill's show and wanted to try and make it better, you know, that would have been fair. But when things get a little bit too crazy is when we look at the episodes, at the list of episodes. So for Bad Thoughts, Tom's show, if we take a look, there's about 6 episodes. There's 6 episodes for the show, for the first season, and each one is named using one word. So jobs, success, family, love, communication, health. You get the points. And if you read the description, you know, the episodes have a few short stories in them, which I would argue some are sketches, but that's not the point right now. But if you take a look, you know, that's the format of the episodes and the way they're listed. And if we look at Bill's show, and if we take a look at the episodes, you'll see that there are 10 episodes, each named using one single word. Guilt, secrets, relationships, parenthood, hypocrisy, technology. You get the point. There's 10 episodes. And also the description, I mean, come on, the description sounds very similar to Bad Thoughts. Again, to be fair, there's a lot of shows on TV that obviously follow the same exact format. But because Tom is very close to Bill, you know, I'm not saying they're close friends, but even though Tom isn't in California anymore, they're still kind of, you know, in the same circle in a way. And so the fact that he never mentioned Bill Burr as an inspiration for the show, and instead he was saying that it was more like the Twilight Zone, it's pretty wild. Now, if we take a look at some of the episodes, which by the way, I don't know if I mentioned, but the show, Bill's show, it's up on YouTube. You know, the episodes are a little bit on the short side, but I would argue it's about the same runtime as Bad Thoughts. But anyways, if we take a look at some of the episodes, you'll see how it's a little bit like Bad Thoughts, except with a way lower budget. And that's, you know, that's a huge point that I did want to make. So keep in mind, Bill's show was shot in 2021. It has a ton of positive feedback, and at some point Bill was nominated for an Emmy because of that show. So it was a pretty good show with a low budget. It never got renewed for season 2, but I still think it's a pretty good show. And so I wanted to take a look at some of the episodes from Bill's show, because there are some moments where you'll recognize how Tom basically tried to do something similar, but instead of actually going for a funny twist or something unexpected, it was again leaning more on that shock value. And because Bill didn't have the massive Netflix budget, you can see how they try to make it work with what they have. So take a look at this first one. By the way, I will probably have to blur most of this. Maybe I'll upload the uncensored version to Patreon, but I'll see. So take a look at this.
Maybe then you wouldn't have a swirl of nice people start doing psychos, okay? Maybe then you wouldn't have a swirl of trash the size of Texas in the middle of the fucking Pacific Ocean. Do we work on that? No, because there's psychos in the world, and all they end up doing is trying to keep improving golf equipment so these man-titted fucking cunts can keep a ball on the fairway.
I'm close.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Wherever you want.
What?
I want you wherever you want.
Really?
Yeah, baby.
Okay.
Oh no. Definitely blurring that. Holy shit.
Did you just come on my mom? I want a divorce. Get out. Now.
You said I could come wherever I want.
Get the fuck out. Now. And don't you dare go anywhere near her out there.
By the way, a massive difference between Bill's show and Tom's is that Bill does the monologues, introduces the sketches or the stories, but he doesn't really give himself the cool role or makes himself look good or come out on top. Whereas Tom Segura's whole thing was, kind of, I feel like at some point he was just trying to make himself look good to show off that he's, been getting back in shape or whatever.
Jake.
So that's a funny twist. And, if Tom was making this episode, he would have, with his money, he would have probably had the lady, the woman come back as a zombie and then had sex with Nick. And then somehow the house would blow up and everyone would blow up into little pieces. I don't know. It's, again, it's an example of how it's just good writing. It's a very simple joke. It wasn't that crazy, nothing too insane. It was it was decent. Now, let me see if I can find the other one. Now, this one is pretty funny, and Bobby Lee is on this one, which if you compare it to what he did on Bad Thoughts, it was kind of weird that Tom only gave him like 7 minutes, for the episode. It wasn't even an actual story. It was all dialogue and nothing crazy happened. It was a waste of Bobby Lee, because when you watch this show, you can see what could have been done.
I'm gonna go get some tacos.
Because you're not taking your car anywhere. You've been drinking and hitting the thing all day. You shouldn't be taking
Hey,
it.
man, I'm fine.
No, I know you're fine. I know you're fine. But listen, you've been such a good friend to me through this whole divorce. I would be sleeping on the street somewhere if it wasn't for you. So please, the least I can do, I'm happy to take your car, go pick up some grub, okay? And I'll come right back.
Okay, you can stay as long as you need.
I might take you up on that.
Okay.
Okay.
The good old reliable. The good old reliable.
Dude, I'm so sorry. Something just happened.
What?
Okay, so I'm in the driveway and I can't really see anything, and I'm in a hurry to leave, and Coco was in the driveway.
Coco.
Coco, okay?
Coco.
Yeah. He's okay. When I say he's okay, I mean he doesn't have any pain. He's dead. He's at peace.
What the f? You killed Coco?
Dylan, I am so sorry.
Oh my God, Coco!
Dude, it was an accident.
Get the f out of here!
All my stuff is here, man. I don't have anywhere I can. Listen to me.
I'll kill you! Get the f out of here!
Sorry.
Don't ever come. Oh my God.
Hey, man, I just came to get my things.
Where were you?
Well, I thought you told me.
I f***ed up. Last night I got drunk and I must have blacked out. And I guess I decided to drive and I.
Yeah,
I'm a piece of shit!
it's okay. Come on.
Oh my God!
Don't-
I believe it.
It's okay. Don't be so hard on yourself. You don't deserve that.
What I did was unforgivable.
Listen, you're gonna get through this. We're gonna get through this together.
He needs a proper burial. Yeah. Thanks, man. Oh, God.
Would have been here sooner. I just thought I was letting you process. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What the?
That's pretty good. That's simple. Pretty good. Very affordable, I would assume. And again, it shows you what could have been done with Bad Thoughts with his episode, but instead he was just made. He was turned into a cuck, and it was pretty useless in my opinion. And one more thing that I did want to show you. I saw one of the stories showed a perfect example of what can be done with a low budget.
Whenever somebody comes out and they trashes somebody.
And by the way, if Tom was making that episode with a cat, he would have shown the cat getting, run over and turned into paste. And then Bobby Lee would have shot the other guy. I don't know. Something crazy would have happened. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Now, this one kind of reminds me of Tom's opening scene where he's the horrible assassin. But take a look.
Lieutenant. Lieutenant.
Yes, Major.
Target is in lethal range. Zoom in on that truck. Those are the weapons.
It's, someone who is supposed to take someone out.
You have permission to prosecute.
Alpha 3, Reaper in lethal range. Locked.
Hellfire to target is green. Rifle in 3, 2,
The quality. Just 4K definition. Drone footage.
1.
Who's that?
Unknown. Your orders are to release your weapon.
She could be a civilian.
Your orders are to engage.
But the collateral damage. It could be a lot of collateral damage.
We have 1 shot. Clear to engage. Lieutenant, prosecute the target.
What the f are we doing? We've hit 24 targets, but how many hundreds of civilians? For what? We don't know if those are even the weapons. See? We're better than this.
You've made your point.
So stupid.
Send it back to base.
You're right. Orders are orders.
Jesus. So stupid. Again, you know, it wasn't similar, but it just reminded me of that sketch, of that story. But this one here did have a good example of how low budget this show was. So this story here is about a killer who's about to retire because the detective who was supposed to be going after him was on vacation. But then take a look at how he gets rid of one of his victims. So this thing is not even on. It's not shaking. There's nothing coming out of it. And then when it cuts to a close up, you can see that thing just like randomly shaking.
I love you, detective. Why?
So stupid. So dumb. So again, just an example of low budget, of the show being low budget, or
about stuff. Go to the
yeah. Let me see if I can find another example that I thought was funny.
So something you're gonna have to deal with, way more so than me, is gonna be technology. People can sense when you don't have boundaries. You know, they start crowding in. You know,
This one was pretty funny.
Fine, I was at your house yesterday, but I swear to God, I don't, you fucking bull.
Now, when it comes to bad thoughts, for sure, the last 2 episodes were the better ones, in my opinion. I think they even got a pretty good rating. Yeah, this one, the gym one, was pretty funny. I think the ending is a little bit underwhelming, but it was pretty funny. This one was all right, but the coffee shop bit was that one was pretty good. If you take a look here, you can see how they shot it. And if you notice, this was clearly shot.
And I was like, what about
in
this one? What about this one? What about this one?
Because look how different
And
Tom looks.
At one point in our conversation about it, he was like, well, what if we could do 3 of these?
But yeah, once again, when it comes to a moral compass, I thought it was a perfect show to compare Bad Thoughts to. And I feel like everyone should give it a watch and tell me what you think. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Leave a like and subscribe to support the channel. And by the way, if you like these videos, they're way quicker, a lot less editing. So let me know if you like that. But that's all we have for today. See ya.